into Wales. Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Dauphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dauphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, another Wednesday episode. This is twice in 2 weeks, I think. More news for Rotherham United. The first signing of the second era of Steve Evans, and it's another man we know. Jonson Clark-Harris is back. This time on a free. I think it was a club record when he originally signed. This time it is a free transfer. We will delve into whether it's good news, bad news, somewhere in the middle. The answer is probably going to be that we don't know, to be honest with you. But we'll get half an hour or so out of not knowing anything. Mick's back. As Harry says, Mick's thrilled 2 days in a row, in 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, Mick, you're buzzing, aren't you?
I'm all right. My wife, not so much. I'm comfortable with it. I'll let you know next time. Oh, tomorrow. How it's gone.
Well, tomorrow is a special episode, isn't it?
Yes, I've got my black tie all ready for tomorrow evening.
It's
black
a doubly
tie
special episode, though, isn't it? Tomorrow night, for everybody that doesn't normally join us, we normally do an end of seasons award, and we make a big thing. We have 10 categories. We make a big thing out of it. We can't do that this season. So we are still going to make an effort and do end of seasons awards show tomorrow. Black tie event. I suppose optional, because if you're sat at home, nobody's checking on you. I will give some awards out, mainly to Victor, to be honest with you. There you go. Danny's back. How are we doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right, lads. It's nice to have a first signing already. It's quenched the thirst already, I think.
Yes. Loads with us already. YouTube users Scott Kentazo, Jonson Clark-Harris, Dave Lawton, Sean Baldwin, Steve Thomas. There's even everybody is signing already. Something has changed. Steve Evans likes to sign. We said that when he first came in. Powerman's with us, which says evening all. He welcomes back Jonson Clark-Harris. Alan Cox thinks it's a great signing. Powerman, we'll come on to that. Maybe Powerman asks, do you think getting relegated gave us a head start? Probably. So yeah, there's been rumours the past couple of days. Make a tweet from the podcast account that silly season was well underway when somebody saw Jonson Clark-Harris on a train. That's when you know the transfer season is, it's there, it's ready to go. But this has been rumoured for probably a couple of weeks now, to be honest with you. What are your initial thoughts when you heard the rumour feeding into now when it's been confirmed?
My initial thoughts were similar to my initial thoughts with Steve Evans. It felt initially, without thinking about it, a bit of a backward step. It's that going back to the X, isn't it? That kind of feeling. But I've been giving it some thought, some consideration. As everybody said in the comments here and also on social media, he's been there and done it at this level since leaving us. When he left us, he was raw, a bit, maybe arguably a bit hot-headed. I don't know whether that's fair, but raw. And he's had time to go away and develop his game, and he's a proven goal scorer in League One. Nobody else in our squad is. So we don't know what's going to happen with Hugo. We don't know what's going to happen with Eves. So he's come out of the blocks, Steve Evans, hasn't he? First one available, and he's gone for him. Whether it's the right move, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? That accounts for any signing that we make this summer. We're not going to know, but he's gone for somebody with some experience at this level, so can't argue with that.
Yeah. J-Boy says for me, with Jonson Clark-Harris, he says it's nothing to lose. It's a free transfer, won the Golden Boot in this league. I think once or at least once, maybe even twice. He also won Player of the Season. He has J-Boy's full support. He also adds, if you hear Jonson Clark-Harris, he says the manager had a lot to do with it. Shows Steve Evans' pull in this league. Josh Smith says top signing Jonson Clark-Harris, proven at this level and a free. To think if Richardson didn't go, it'd been Charlie Wyke. Statement signing, just not signing to go. A few signs to go. Then we go back to his original spell, Danny. There was always something there. I mean, you remember the Leeds goal is a very, very famous goal in our history, to be honest with you. But he just got really unlucky with injuries. You know, when Alan Stubbs came in, I think Alan Stubbs was going to put his entire trust in Clarke-Harris as our strike force, and then he did his ACL on the first game of pre-season. So that could have been a moment for Clarke-Harris to kind of step up. But then when he came back, things had changed. Paul Warren was in charge, and it just didn't quite. At the time, he didn't quite fit in with a good human being thing. I think that's my reading of the situation. So from that point of view, we're both unlucky that it never happened first time around. But it's gone to show that there's no question in his ability.
Is that Danny?
It was Danny, yeah.
No, absolutely not. I mean, excuse me, like a few people have said in the comments, he's a yeah, sorry, mate. But yeah, a few people in the comments have said, you know, he's a proven goal scorer at this level when he scored more or less 25 plus, you know, 3 out of 4 seasons at this level, both with Peterborough and Bristol Rovers. So I think it shows he's matured quite a lot as a goal scorer and as a footballer. But when he was here the first time, I think this is where we've got sort of the, you know, sort of like the mean guy persona from. Because, you know, he was a young lad and he was probably, like you say, probably a bit hot-headed at the time as well. But he's matured now. And he wants to play for Steve Evans again. So, again, that shows his pull at this level. But, like you say, his first spell, you know, he wasn't really getting the game time. So, went out on loan a few times. Then he did his ACL, which was very unfortunate for him. And I think Paul Warren just sort of, like I say, with the good human beings, it sort of had a mark against his name because of that, even though I think he had a lot to prove. And he said that in his interview, you know, he's like unfinished business at this club. And, you know, I'm inclined to agree. I think he was young and hungry, came across the wrong way at times, whereas now he's matured, he's grown up, and he wants to prove that he is a capable footballer. And, you know, it's a perfect opportunity. I like that it's only a 2-year deal. So I think that's, you know, straight back up, see how he does in the Championship, or straight back, or not go straight back up, and then we've got another year as well. The one negative, I think, was him trying to be offloaded by Peterborough, which then equated to him not playing as much, well, as many minutes as he would have liked. He still got 34 appearances, I think, last season, but they were only like 5-minute spells at times, only 16 starts. But that was Peterborough trying to make money, and, you know, it just didn't materialise. But we've sort of acted quickly and got him only 11 days after our season's finished. That has to be something like, you know, behind the scenes, you know, let's make it happen sort of thing. There must have been conversations going on before that. In my opinion, anyway.
Possibly. Scott says he didn't want to sign a new deal. I mean, understandably, because they tried offloading him last summer to Bristol Rovers. That was, if had deadline day not got in the way, he would be a Bristol Rovers player currently. Which is ironic. It concerns me, Mick. It does concern me because we want to be in the position where Peterborough have been this season, i.e., challenging for the top 2, which they were for the most part.
Yeah.
If they're deciding that they didn't need him at the start of the season, they certainly don't need him now. That does draw concern to me a little bit. But then it's Peterborough, innit?
Yeah.
So then I think, well, is it really stupid and seeing him because he's 29, because he's over the age of 25 or whatever, there's less value in him and they're just getting rid of him? Or do they think he's actually not worth keeping on because he's not good enough anymore?
You mean the highly experienced Peterborough, League One Peterborough, who will remain in League One, having bottled the playoffs again this season, Peterborough. So they're obviously very well equipped to getting out of League One and know what players they need. Do they? Because they're still there, aren't they? So we don't know what's gone off down there, do we? We don't know what they're trying to do. Maybe Dara felt that they weren't going to make him enough money, so decided not to offer him a new deal. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what the score is. It's irrelevant as far as we're concerned in it. You know, he's a Rotherham United player. Now the question is he going to be able to cut it? Depends how Steve Evans decides he wants to play the game. You know, he's not, or he wasn't, and I don't know whether this has developed over the years or not. He wasn't blessed with a great amount of pace. He's just a big, strong lad who knows where the goal is. There's no doubt about that. But you've got to get him in the right place, and you've got to get the ball in the right place as well. So I don't know. The jury's out as far as I'm concerned on the signing. But like I've just said earlier on, the jury's going to be out for probably the bulk of the signings that we make this season. I can't see this closed season. Sorry, I can't see there being any headline signings as far as Rotherham United are concerned. You know, I might be wrong, but he scores goals. You know, we haven't scored any this season. Well, it feels like we haven't scored any. I know we have, but it feels like we've scored next to none. So it's strengthening in the right place. Whether it means there's likely to be an exit for Hugo or Eves potentially, who knows? But we've got 4 strikers on the books at the moment, so at least one of them knows what goal is in League One. Arguably, Nombe does as well.
Yeah, that's true. Powerman says, do you remember when he almost broke the net when he took a penalty? I do remember that. I also remember when he hit the back of the north stand as well. I think it was a free kick as well. So there's good parts and bad parts. I think it's important to play devil's advocate with this, Danny, as well, because his goal record speaks for itself. We don't really need to sort of question that. The problem you've got for me with Jonson Clark-Harris is there's no pace. There's not much legs in him. Never was when he was younger, so there's not going to be much now. So that then tells you that begs the question is, what's the style of play going to be? Because for me, it was going to be a press. It was high press, high energy, that kind of thing. Plus the balls in the box, which does suit Clarke-Harris. But the high energy, high press, which it was under Steve Evans before, does not suit Jonson Clark-Harris. So it makes me think, and I don't really understand the next steps. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
I think it's going to be potentially a little change of tactic from us in terms of going forward, because I've seen a few people comment saying Clarke-Harris suits, the balls out wide and then into the box style of play, which we were doing a little bit towards the end of the season, especially in Evans' last 2 games, I think it was. So that could be a style of play, but if we are going to keep the high press part of it, I would imagine Nombe would fill in as the presser and Clarke-Harris would be, your more stereotypical centre forwards in that sense. But yeah, to me it says it's sort of on par with how we played against Cardiff, how we got balls out wide and got them into the box, and that strikes me as the way Evans wants to move forward, and Clarke-Harris will suit that style, as will Tom Eves as well. But to me, he does say that Hugo might be moving on potentially. I think there'd be Clarke-Harris and Eves as your centre forwards, Nombe in your 10 position, and then potentially wider players to get the ball into the box. I think that could be our way moving forward.
And don't forget with Andre Green coming back, who's likely to play out wide. And assuming that he stays, he's going to be a hell of a player for League One level.
Yeah,
he should not be playing at League One level. Green.
Yeah, Andrew Witham says Jonson Clark-Harris is much more mobile than Hugo.
I am
probably, but he's still mobile.
Mobile in the sense he stays on his feet.
Come on, let's be fair. I could have a gallon and still stay on my feet longer than Hugo.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan.
Harry says that's what Nombe is for in reference to the press. It shouldn't be. Are we saying we spent £1 million? That's for me. That's wrong. If that's the case, and that may well be what Evans chooses to go down. That's not the play we signed, is it? We didn't sign a presser. We signed with a work rate and somebody who can work as a team. But for me, we didn't sign to do that. We didn't sign to do like the dog work that Michael Smith used to do, for example, in League One.
We didn't, but he's certainly done it in the last couple of games under Steve Evans, and obviously scored an absolute screamer in that last game from that position. So, it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily mean that because we signed him as a striker, that's where his best position is, So we signed Hacks as a defender, if I remember rightly. And yes, all right, he's played in defence a lot this season, but he's far better suited further up the pitch. Likewise with Semi Ajayi when he was here, he came as a defender, but as a holding midfielder, it was awesome. So, yeah, no, I don't buy that that sort of argument on Nombe.
Jonson Clark-Harris says, Shelley says, sorry, Jonson Clark-Harris is a proven League One goal scorer. That's a given. Shelley, it's 100% a statement of intent. Ab says, wow, not sure on Jonson Clark-Harris, Golden Boot winner in 20-plus goal a season goal scorer. But last season, we all thought Kelly would do well in the Championship, who isn't as good as Clark-Harris in any department.
Yeah, he is, definitely. 100%. Don't agree with that. He's a better goal scorer.
He's more mobile.
He knows exactly where the goal is, does Georgie Kelly. I'm not saying he's a great player, and I'm not saying he's a better player, but in terms of an actual out-and-out goal scorer, I've not seen very many who've got that instinct that Georgie Kelly's got. The rest of his game, not so much, by any stretch, in fact. But as an actual goal scorer, that's my view anyway. Not saying I'm right, it's my view.
Yeah. John Morell says, it says Jonson Clark will possibly be a plan B off the bench. I can't imagine he's brought in as first choice, which is potentially as well. I mean, there's plenty of positive. Let's again play the devil's advocate kind of role. One of the things that was talked about in the last few games from the Steve Evans area was that we're going to lower the average age of the squad.
Yeah.
And bring in, but also try and bring in players who have kind of been there, done that, and got promoted out of League One. It doesn't lower the average age, although actually it might, to be honest with you, which holds some bad signs away, but it doesn't lower it as much as we would kind of say. And he hasn't been there and done it in League. He has got one promotion from League One, absolutely, in the COVID season. But this might not be a dig at him. This might be a dig at Peterborough. He's been part of two Peterborough teams that have completely bottled promotion twice in a row. So he actually comes with it. If I'm being critical, is maybe not the right word, but it comes with baggage over the last two seasons of being in that environment potentially. Is that too harsh?
No, I think it's true. I think you're probably right. However, if there's any player that I can think of that's played for us throughout the last 10 years, and you wanted me to find somebody who got the personality to try and get that monkey off his back, I think Clark-Harris would probably be one of them. Because he strikes me as being a very strong personality, and he has been there and done it in League One. His goal record shows that. You can't put any or next to no blame on him in terms of Peterborough bottling playoffs. That's the whole team and management structure and club as a whole, isn't it? But yeah, that might have had an impact on him. I think listening to him speak, I think he feels that he didn't perform to the best of his ability while he was with us last time. And I think we all know that. But he was a kid. He was a young kid, literally a young kid, weren't he? So. Look, it is a statement of intent that we're going to be trying to get in goal scorers. So the main part about this is who else is going to be in there to support those goal scorers. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, we will. Listening to his interview today, though, Danny, I thought it was very impressive. I think we've mentioned earlier about the hot-headedness that Jonson Clark has had before, and the bad vibes that you hear around first time around. I thought it was only a 5-minute interview. I thought he spoke very, very impressively. He seems like he's matured significantly, and if he has, then we are seeing, because there is 1,000,000% that there's a player in there. So, and if he's matured as well, then happy days.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike, can you just repeat the last of that? I lagged a little bit.
I will, but I'll also come to John Morell's comment earlier, where
I lagged a little bit. Can you repeat it?
John Morell said, I give Danny credit. I've never known anybody to always manage to find the worst internet speed in the world so consistently. Yes. Basically, just asked about Jonson Clark-Harris getting.
Can I defend with that? That was I'm at my granddad's and there's no Wi-Fi here, so.
That's fine. Talk to me about Jonson Clark-Harris maturing and hopefully being an improved player and person from 6 years ago.
Yeah, so with his interview, he came across very driven and determined to right wrongs, I think. And I'm answering the question you've just said about talking to you about Jonson Clark-Harris, so there's not that much lag now. But yeah, his interview came across really well, and I'll agree with you. It does seem like he's matured a hell of a lot since last time, and he's even said, I don't know how true it is, but we'll have to wait and see, that he's got no holiday. He just wants to work and get ready for next season, which, like I said, very strong and determined person. So yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah. Paul Armin, is Danny in mixed car park in Wales? I think so.
Internet's a lot better.
Do you want me to just leave the podcast and leave you two to it, lads?
Make 107 goals, 279 League One appearances. Is it a positive? And is it too early to say whether, because people are getting excited, understandably so, when you sign a striker of this caliber, but it kind of depends on the rest of the 14 or 15 signings that come next as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. There's no need to get excited about anything at the moment because we're not, the transfer window hasn't even opened. But on the flip side of that, you know, we're starting to make some moves early doors, which is what Steve Evans we expected from him anyway. You know, he said all the right things as Steve Evans since he came back, which we knew he would anyway. Jonson Clark-Harris is saying all the right things. Time will tell whether Steve Evans is able to put those things into practice. But yeah, I don't get excited just yet. Not yet. It would be my advice.
Too early. True. Shelley says, have Peterborough and he asks, have Peterborough and Darren Ferguson used him to his full potential? Do they maybe not get along? Him and Steve Evans clearly do. I think that the reason he's moved on, I think, from Peterborough, Danny, if we're looking forward to it, is that Peterborough are changing the style. Peterborough are going for a very quick, Ricky J. Jones, by all accounts, is rapid. They're changing the style. Jonson Clark-Harris will probably work better if you go direct, which Steve Evans does, doesn't it? So again, it's another tick for a Steve Evans kind of set piece, ball forward kind of thing. Clark-Harris does fit that mould.
Yeah, he does, absolutely. And like I've said before on the podcast, Peterborough's also trying to lower their squad age, but you know, they seem to do that every single season anyway. You know, they'll end up playing with their academy players. So, in fact, no, they've done that once this season, haven't they? They've affiliated the academy. Yes. Anyway, but yeah, John Jules coming in. He's such a rapid striker that, you know, it's quite obvious they're going for a different approach both this season and into next season. Probably trying to change tactic and get promoted a different way so they don't become stale trying to do it one way. And unfortunately, in their opinion, Clark-Harris is at the wrong end of his career in that sense. But I'd argue for Steve Evans' approach to football, you know, that direct style like you mentioned, Matt, I'd say he's still within that window of, you know, prime centre forwards. You know, because when you're playing direct football, your centre forwards can still be doing a job past 32. And if he's still at 29 and got something to prove at Rotherham United that he is a decent footballer and not the Clark-Harris we remember, then I'm nailing my colours to the massive very early doors. But I think he's going to have a good season for us.
He ought to. That's the pedigree. If he gets less than 10 goals, he's had a bad season, hasn't he? Yeah, that's not a problem, but it's the pressure that strikers.
That's me done, by the way.
You are?
There's no lag there. That's me done.
Yes, they were all right that time, Danny. They were good. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah. Make a 2-year contract, 29. Well, it will be 30 hours. So we put in the comments where the season starts. Kind of feels like a perfect length of contract. We said in our private group yesterday, I was hoping it wasn't a 3-year contract because look at Wednesday, Michael Smith and Michael Hickaway, they kind of stuck with them for another year.
Yeah.
2-year, hopefully he gets straight back up. And if he gets straight back up, he has a year in the Championship. If it works, great. He just keeps him on. If it doesn't work, you've got rid of him off the wage bill.
Yeah. And it'll suit him as well. So, it seemed right. It seemed right, proper business. So, yeah, it's a good start. It's a fair start to the transfer stupid silly season, as you rightly called it. There needs to be plenty more, and there needs to be plenty more at minimum this quality. Yeah,
absolutely. This is kind of the bit we said this last season. It never kind of panned out. This is kind of the baseline. This is where we need to be for the rest of the season, rest of what we do. Scott Kent rightly says easy one for next season's top scorer. That's true. Yeah, prediction, easy one. Mick won't go for it, obviously. Mick will go for
no, obviously not.
Peltier, even though he's left. Like
that.
Danny, what's next in terms of signings? We've talked about Clarke-Harris. What's next? What signing positionally wise do you think will be up next on the agenda? Danny might have muted himself. It's going well. He's back.
Sorry, I was putting a message in the private chat. Sorry about that. Just repeat the question for me, Matt. Sorry.
What's next? Well, in terms of personnel, well, not personnel, but positional-wise, what's next in terms of what you want to see for Rotherham United signing-wise?
I think it depends on how quickly Victor moves on, I think. Because I think that'll be the next area to address. But in terms of getting bodies in, I would say centre-back department, I'd say that'd be the next place to cast our nets. But I think that will probably be June time when we see the first arrivals there.
Yeah, I think you're possibly right. Obviously, Victor is still with us. The Premier League ends this weekend. I think it is the last game. I would guess from most of Europe also ends this weekend as well. So potentially, could that then be a kind of a moment for everything else to sort of start moving from in terms of the Victor deal?
It can't start until the beginning of June, can it?
You can agree a deal, can't you? You can sign that. You can sign it.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's been a deal agreed. Who knows? But it also may depend on other people moving from other clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
To open up a vacancy.
Sean Baldwin and Scott Kent say wingers. Harry says defenders.
And I'll throw in midfielders into that, so you've got a full house.
We need keepers as well. We need a keeper as well.
Yeah, and I don't say that Mickey. That is genuinely true. We need to strengthen all over the pitch. So we're struggling in every area, quite frankly. Well, obviously, given we've got 10, essentially 10 players, we've now got 11. Now Clarke-Harris has arrived, so that's we can put a full team out. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Gaz rightly points out you can't officially buy anybody until June, but you can agree deals in advance and announce them. But June is when things will start to really, really kick on. I would have thought. Although we bought something on 15th of May, which was the earliest I can ever remember a signing being confirmed. To be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was seized today. Have we all sorted it?
No.
Oh yeah.
It looks really easy if you're not trying to add somebody else's ticket onto your own account. If I've got trying to add a kid, I've not been able to work that out yet. But if you just yourself, it does look very easy. Let's see what else. Let's see how difficult it gets to be to add an extra person on.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to cover tonight, lads?
Just maybe we could put a poll in comments to see who thinks there's any recommendations for an internet provider for Danny.
It's not for me. I'm at my granddad's and he doesn't have Wi-Fi because he's 98.
Why does he have Wi-Fi?
Because he's 98. He doesn't know what a mobile phone is, really.
Fair enough. So we'll be back tomorrow. It's the end of season awards show. We're going to end now, half an hour, I think, because it's not an emergency pod, but it's what's the phrase? Off the cuff. We'll go with that one. Off the cuff.
Go with that one.
So we'll be back tomorrow we have a bumper show. Well, a bumper show. We're going to do the end of season awards show. We're going to go through 4 or 5 categories, discuss it, and decide between ourselves because of the season we've had. We'll also have a special guest, Liam McMahon, who's back with us tomorrow. He will be talking about his new single, Lonely Boy, and also letting us know about his show that he's doing on Saturday at Gorilla Hall in Mexborough, which I think there are tickets still available for that. But we'll let Lee tell you all about that because he's probably a better salesman for his own stuff than I am, although I do love it. Mick, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, mate. Anytime.
Yeah. Oh, Harry says, right, so plus the 7 signings we make tomorrow, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, we'll need to cover that in 10 minutes.
3 record transfer fees and anything track or something like that. See if they can sign them tomorrow. That'd be lovely. Danny, thank you for battling through your internet today.
Yeah, no worries. If anyone wants to let BT know that Broome needs better 5G, please do it on my behalf.
Yeah. Danny will be back on proper Wi-Fi tomorrow, which will probably still be rubbish, but it's fine. Would be good.
Yeah, I'll have to recharge the Wi-Fi router tonight to make sure it's ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you all for being with us. Make sure you subscribe. If you're with us for the first time in a while, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. If you're on iTunes and Spotify, subscribe on there. If you've been watching on X, go over to YouTube. So please do subscribe on YouTube, or if you prefer your audio podcast, do it at iTunes and Spotify as well. And we'll see you all tomorrow for the end of season's award show. Yeah.
Yay!
See you later, everybody. It's been lovely, and up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
It's a Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, the Dauphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dauphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favor, drop me off